Everyone. Ngasigi topic se BEGC 107 Bridges Poetry and Drama 17th and 18th Century ko adugi section number doing block 4 Alexander Pope the Rap of the Law ko the Rap of the Law ki unitary analysis of canto or canto ay ko canto number 3 ko doing ko so mamangi lecture ani koi tanagre ko da koi Alexander Pope ki magi life ki story have tare magi biography ko adu ya kuina nagre aduga ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯔꯦꯞ ꯑꯣꯐ ꯗ ꯂꯣꯛ ꯀꯣ ꯑꯗꯨꯒꯤ ꯃꯇꯥꯡꯗ introductory ꯍꯥꯏꯕ ꯇꯥꯔꯦꯀꯣ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ introduction background lecture ꯍꯥꯏꯕ ꯇꯥꯔꯦꯅꯀꯣ ꯈꯤꯇꯪ ꯃꯆꯥ ꯑꯃ ꯇꯦꯟꯇꯪꯅ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏ ꯇꯥꯟꯅꯈ꯭ꯔꯦ ꯉꯁꯤꯒꯤꯁꯤꯅ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯔꯦꯞ ꯑꯣꯐ ꯗ ꯂꯣꯛꯁꯦ ꯀꯥꯟꯇꯣ ꯃꯉꯥꯅ ꯁꯥꯕꯅꯤ ꯀꯣ ꯀꯥꯟꯇꯣ ꯃꯉꯥ ꯌꯥꯎꯏ ꯀꯥꯟꯇꯣ ꯍꯥꯏꯔꯒꯗꯤ ꯁꯦꯛꯁꯟꯁ ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯒ ꯆꯞ ꯃꯥꯟꯅꯩꯀꯣ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯅꯣꯚꯦꯜꯁꯀꯨꯝꯕꯗ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯆꯦꯞꯇꯔꯁ ꯈꯥꯏꯗꯣꯛꯄ ꯑꯗꯨꯃꯥꯏꯅ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯑꯁꯥꯡꯕ ꯏꯁꯦꯀꯣ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯑꯦꯄꯤꯛꯀꯨꯝꯕ ꯀꯩꯒꯨꯝꯕꯁꯦ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏ ꯀꯥꯟꯇꯣ ꯑꯣꯏꯅ ꯈꯥꯏꯗꯣꯛꯏꯀꯣ ꯌꯥꯝꯅ ꯃꯃꯤꯡ ꯆꯠꯄꯗ ꯍꯥꯏꯔꯒꯅ ꯗꯥꯟꯇꯦꯒꯤ The Divine Comedy ꯀꯣ ꯑꯗꯒꯤ ꯑꯦꯖ꯭ꯔꯥ ꯄꯥꯎꯟꯒꯤ The Cantos ꯀꯥꯏꯅꯒ ꯂꯩꯕꯗꯣꯀꯣ ꯑꯗꯨꯃꯥꯏꯅ ꯔꯦꯞ ꯑꯣꯐ ꯗ ꯂꯣꯛꯁꯤꯁꯨ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯅ ꯀꯥꯟꯇꯣ ꯃꯉꯥ ꯊꯣꯛꯅ ꯈꯥꯏꯗꯣꯛꯑꯝꯃꯤ ꯑꯦꯂꯦꯛꯖꯦꯟꯗꯔ ꯄꯣꯞꯅ ꯉꯁꯤꯒꯤ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯅ ꯅꯩꯅꯒꯗꯧꯔꯤꯕ ꯀꯥꯟꯇꯣꯁꯤꯅ ꯀꯥꯟꯇꯣ ꯅꯝꯕꯔ 3 ꯀꯣ ꯈ꯭ꯋꯥꯏꯗꯒꯤ ꯃꯦꯖꯔ ꯑꯣꯏꯕ ꯀ꯭ꯂꯥꯏꯃꯦꯇꯤꯛ ꯃꯣꯃꯦꯟꯇ ꯌꯥꯎꯕ ꯀꯥꯟꯇꯣꯗꯣ ꯑꯣꯏꯒꯗꯣꯏꯅꯦꯕꯀꯣ so today's lecture BEGC 107 British Poetry and Drama 17th and 18th centuries ki ko block number 4 Alexander Pope The Rape of the Lock aduga unit 3 analysis of canto number 3 ko horosika so aims and objectives ko masigi lecture jigi our aim through this unit is to present a detailed analysis of canto number 3 from the poem The Rape of the Lock. At the end of the study you will understand the characteristics of a classical epic, what is a mock epic, detailed analysis of canto number 3, how canto 3 incorporates a majority of the epic features, what makes The Rape of the Lock both an epic poem and a satire. Aduna nasigi lecture gi aims amasung objectives ko aikoini yengadorise analysis of niko detail analysis ama yengani canto number 3 gi ko aikoigi Rape of the Lock gi aduda aikoina focus togadorise kari jaga dano area dano haiba kanda characteristics of a classical epic amagi definition ja satisfy toge haibadi masigi work of literature je classical epic ni na haige hairagadi kari magun changam thui ko magi kari features kari parameters sing satisfy to toke habto mangasi ninaragani audagi ani subada what is a mock epic hairagana kari no for example The Rape of the Lock se mock epic ni already Mac Fleck no je mock epic ni haije kari no satire ko mock epics kari no to aduga moigi definition na kamaina pigani moigi na kari features yauragadi mock epic ni habi ai ko aduga hum subada detailed analysis of canto number 3 on canto number 3 ki detailed analysis amagu jo ko yengangani ko si lecture jida habadi canto number 3 je most important canto nugu hai ko moigi manga du manung ko aduga mari subada how canto 3 incorporates a majority of the epic features so na canto number 3 da epic features maya mama yawe have say kamaini yauri no ko example in harabada kari habadi hoi mock epic ni ko The Rape of the Lock aduna canto 3 da yauriba epic features have tare habadi epic amane na satisfy to gi maram sing do or kari yauge have to hui ingune ko aduga what makes The Rape of the Lock both an epic poem and a satire already last upon yeng do kari no kanda The Rape of the Lock se kari gi damakta koina epic poem ne zuhari no masum satire ne zuhari no have to ne opinion du ko auna ngasigi aims and objectives se kriyami manga sui ko auna kari no have kanda characteristics of a classical epic hairagadi Greek amasum Roman writers sing na hairake ko akoigi Homer hoy Virgil hoy ko moi mayam ni iramba epic ki features ko auna epic ama oire hairagadi epic ama ki magun chele hairagadi kari magun chenhon thui habadumne what is a mock epic habisina kari no habamne haidi classical epic ka mock epic kai dikhenai ko habadi mock epic se classical epic ki matau tammi ko magi features sing follow to ko le to kamaina follow to no kari yawi ko le habda hum subda detailed analysis of canto 3 or canto 3 ko to ga kuina kupna canto number 3 je ko sida kuigi battle ke ka yauduni ko Belinda masung Baron ki battle ꯃꯣꯏꯒꯤ ombre ꯁꯥꯟꯅꯕ ꯈꯣꯠꯄ ꯑꯗꯨ ꯃꯌꯥꯝꯗꯣ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏ ꯀꯨꯞꯅ ꯅꯩꯅꯒꯗꯣꯔꯤꯕꯅꯦꯕꯀꯣ ꯑꯗꯨꯅ ꯌꯥꯝꯅ ꯀꯨꯞꯅ Canto number 3 ꯁꯦ ꯑꯦꯅꯥꯂꯥꯏꯁꯤꯁ ꯇꯧꯕ ꯑꯃ ꯑꯗꯨꯒ ꯅꯦꯛꯁꯇ how Canto 3 incorporates a majority of the epic features ꯑꯗꯨꯅ epic features ꯍꯥꯏꯔꯒꯗꯤ epic ꯀꯤ qualities ꯃꯌꯥꯝ ꯑꯌꯥꯝꯕꯅ Canto number 3 ꯗ ꯌꯥꯎꯏ ꯍꯥꯏꯔꯤꯁꯦ ꯀꯃꯥꯏꯅ ꯌꯥꯎꯔꯤꯅꯣ ꯀꯣ example ꯀꯔꯤ ꯀꯔꯤꯅꯣ ꯑꯗꯨꯒ proof ꯅ ꯀꯔꯤ ꯀꯔꯤꯅꯣ ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯗꯨ ꯌꯦꯡꯗꯣꯔꯤꯅꯦꯕ ꯑꯗꯨꯒ ꯂꯥꯁꯇ what makes the Rape of the Lock both an epic poem and a satire ꯑꯗꯨꯅ ꯂꯥꯁꯇ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯅ ꯌꯦꯡꯒꯗꯧꯔꯤꯕꯁꯦ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯅ proof ꯄꯤꯅꯕ ꯍꯣꯠꯅꯒꯗꯧꯔꯤꯕꯁꯤ ꯀꯔꯤꯅꯣ ꯍꯥꯏꯕ ꯀꯥꯟꯗ Rape of the Lock ꯁꯦ epic poem नेसु हाई अमसुंग satire नेसु हाइबको अनिमक से चुम्ब्रा अनिमक की मगुनसिंग लोइनमक satisfy तौब्रा हाइबदो अखोइना लास्ट येंगदोरिने so नसिगी एम्स एंड ऑब्जेक्टिव से नसिगी मंगा से ओइरनी को अदुना नसिगी मंगा से वन बाय वन कोई स्लाइड बाय स्लाइड येंगदो satisfy तौब्री येंगसि next class introduction. The poem narrates a trivial incident involving two aristocratic families, and this incident is exaggerated into a full-blown battle, almost paralleling classical battle between Greeks and Trojans depicted by Homer nearly 2,500 years ago in the Iliad. The Iliad remains an epic poem and does not feature satirical elements like the Rape of the Lock, which is both a more epic poem and a poetic satire. Alexander Pope and John Dryden were the chief poet satirists of this period, while the celebrated prose satirist was Jonathan Swift. aduna masiki poem akoigi the Rape of the Lock sina kari narrate tawdunu haibu kanda a trivial incident involving two aristocratic families matamdugi 18th century gi imung haiba tare aristocratic haibadi noble family gi haibni ko imung ani gi marta khanaba ama yaw chamchamna haiba tare ko chamchamba matangda hairagene aduga khanabadu aduga sigi incident se yam awangba thakta pukhatlaga haiba tare ko full blown battle haibadi thaina Greek amasung Roman writers singnaga moigi iramba epic ki maungda kaisu nataba haiba tare ko kaisu leitaba natraga kaisu nataba yamni important natraga maru oitaba imung ani gi khanabase masije yamna exaggerated language sinaraga full blown battle amo ohelaga almost paralleling haibadi classical battle between Greeks and Trojans khanagibado Iliad Greeks amasung Trojans khanagi Greeks ki Helen do Menelaus ki nupi Helen do Paris na kidnap tawibadagi or we already know the story ko wari du dikhange aduna achauba battle ama hingnagibado anisigi marakta ko kingdom anisigi marakta adumaina sigi kaisu leitaba kaisu nataba haiba tare ko incident amase yamna achauba level da chingkatpa amasung yamna maru oiba yamna important of a battle ki tapta Alexander Pope na in a sarcastic tone ko sarcastic manner ni ko man tu bise mana zu incident to yamna awang ba thakta thambagi wana tebo ko akoina ningjang ga dobudi masi mock epic satire ni na ko Alexander Pope na yamna karem kathaina bagi mong da haiba tare sigi incident se mana Iliad the yauba battle ki tapta in a very sarcastic and mocking manner da man irakadoine haibadi epic poems ki tapta yamna heroic deeds ko heroic actions sacrifice adu dagi matang da te man iduse ko just ushita ba karem kathaina ba haigene ko karem kathaina ba mong da madugi incident to mana mu in poetic form haiba tare classical features sing hapsalaga kashunata ba incident to ekoida mana in a mocking manner, in a mocking tone with the present of Iliad. Depicted by Homer nearly 2,500 years ago in the Iliad. Now, Iliad hariba epic poem do. Yamna sangi ko. Iliad amasung Odyssey companion works nangtuni ko. Now, Homer na Iliad the Greeks amasung Trojan ki fight haibatare battle haragin na even war harje ko. Adugi matang da man ihiba dumaina yamna awangba language sinaba yamna difficult language sinaba yamna heroic couplets ka eat na khotan tawgibado adumaina the Rape of the Lock tasu Alexander Pope na koigi imung ani khanabagi incident se yamna awang thak singkhalaka mana, but in a sarcastic manner having ko karim ko thana mong iratunya. The Iliad remains an epic poem and does not feature satirical elements like the Rev of the Law, which is both a mock epic poem and a poetic satire. Oh no, Iliad ti mock epic poem ni, epic poem ni ko madi mock epic natte, on the elements yawde ko madi serious or work amani. Oh no, Homer na Iliad irambadadi yamna serious mode ko yamna heroic mode irambani. Adubu Alexander Pope na the Rev of the Law ibise Homer wigi matuk tamagasu ko Iliad ki ibagi mong matuk tamagasu manati yamna karem ko thaina ba satire gi mong irambani ba keneyem ko. So the Rev of the Law was inspired habidi ai ko wiki classical writers Greek amasung Latin or Roman habita ko classical writers in iramba epic poems ki matuk tamaga yamna karem ko thaina bi mong da the Rev of the Law man iramdoine ba. Alexander Pope and John Dryden were the chief poet satirists of this period. This period had the 18th century while the celebrated prose satirist was Jonathan Swift. Pope ka Dryden gana poetry gi field habitare ko. Mapani na kwai digi maming chatpa kwai digi well recognized oiba poet satirist ni matamdugi aduga prose ki genre da hairage satirist oina maming chatla Jonathan Swift ne ko gi Gulliver's Travel ko. Robinson Crusoe. So next slide class. Theme of the Rev of the Law. Pope's poem, The Rev of the Law, based on a real-life incident in which Lord Petre clips lock of hair from Arabella Fermor to preserve it as a memento. This results in a fight between the two families. John Carroll requested Pope to write a poem satirizing triviality and foolishness of dispute and engineer a reconciliation. Oh no, Pope ki saying the Rev of the Law said, "Kari the base of no hakan real life incident the base of nebo." Lord Peter na Arabella Fermor hariba noble lady sidagi ko masam sabun nama habitain ko law of here hariba sambun nama harige kakpa mana memento wena ninjang na ko memory wena na ba masi ka ubasina maram oiraga kari tholake haba kanda imung ani to ko novel family imung ani to marta khanabam tholaki ko between resulting in the fight between the two families haisa aduga John Carroll jina imung ani dugi jo mutual friend ni amasung Alexander Pope ju friend ni mana request to Pope to ko saireng ama iraga moigi khanabase khanabam thokti haibadu muida khanganaba haibitare asuna to maramda khanabani ko pani to John Carroll na imung ani jida khanganing na mana Alexander Pope ki mating lorga Alexander Pope the commission toroga habitare ko iro na commission toroga man incident to satirize toroga habitare ko ihan buneba satirizing triviality and foolishness of dispute and engineer a reconciliation haragadi amuk yanaba purakna bhona bu engineer to ba haragadi shemba na taga yahan bu purakna ba habidi ko alna John Carroll na pamise incident to na maram oraga imungani du khanara ba matungda Alexander Pope da John Carroll na imungani magse satirize toroga moida khangan ba gyan tahan ba ko moina khanabagi maramje kishuna ta maramda moina khanari se auna khanabam thokti habudo amit unna ba ina John Carroll na Pope mating lorga Pope the commission to ne si se iro oina ba madune Pope modeled his poem on theme and style of Greek classics, the Iliad and the Odyssey, and juxtaposed silly conflict between two families with battle between two mighty armies. While the story is essentially about triviality or fight between two families, it mirrors vanity and frivolous life of aristocrats in 18th century. Oh no, Pope china kari karamba sayingi haragene ko. Matau tamge natraga magi mong matau to ko habidi manana ko nagi habakanda mana model this poem and on theme and style of Greek classics ko. Greek classics example the Iliad and the Odyssey himong ko. Iliad amasung Odyssey da sizinaba language sizinaba themes ko sizinaba literary terms for hero ko figures of speech for hero mayam do mana mu sizine ko habidi classical type the mana iratune ko. While story is essentially about triviality of fight between two families, it mirrors vanity and frivolous life of aristocrats in 18th century. Wari chibudi kashunata ba maram gi damakta khanabagi matangda man iboibani adubu adudang dana te man irije ko matamdugi 18th century noble family or aristocrats singi moigi kana da punsi haba tare ne ko moina focus stories moigi priority hai tare punsi da moigi focus amasung priority je kashuna taba kash kana da focus awe ko le haba se pop na mayam da uhaningba amasung mayam da khanganingba aduna adugi matang du mana satirize so ko adi matamdu da aristocrats sing jina moigi self importance hai gadra moigi ego na hai gadra moigi amni important awi mong da khanjabado pop na mu madu do karen ba thaina raga hai tare ko satirize soroga mana mu mirror mo hai tare ko mana uhan ba hai tare ko moi je karam makhan gi mino moi magun je kari no do fazna moi da aristocrats sing jida fazna uhal le ko hai bidi moi gi asoiba moi gi shortcomings moi gi mistakes hai tare ko moi gi ego me am do mo do theme of the rap of the Lord God theme yengzi triviality of courtly life triviality of courtly life aragati court aragati ku noble family singi mugi life to ko haibadi hanati matam amada koigi court life se yamna high class oiba ko yamna intellectual oiba yamna refine oiba haibetare adu mo khanarame ba adubu Alexander Pope na magi matam di courtly life se yamna degraded ore ko yamna ke haitare thak handare haibetare ko quality yam handaraba thak yamna handaraba value yamna handaraba life amo oire habse Pope na realize ko dagi madugi kanadaba mogi courtly life ti matang du mana courtly life se bu mana judge to haibetare ko yamna trivial oire yamna value habedu yaugre ko trend second subuda Belinda's man represent who represents all elite women narcissistic obsession with beauty oh na narcissistic hai ga demand ma hele ko self importance self pride yang wang ko oh na Belinda amasung nupi singi hai tare ko all elite women hai ko women sing na moina moigi outside appearance ta hai tare Alexander Pope hai ning ko yamna ka hena focus to ba yamna ka hena moise adu doina mai unjun ba hai tare ko magun manu masagi magun da nataba masagi outward appearance se hena focus to do adubu judge story ne man Alexander Pope ko si saying next up vanishing of a lock of hair pointing to the short self life of youthful beauty magi masam sambundo mangi buna kari represent of ge have kanda akoi gi youthful beauty gi temporal nature have ta yandeko haibadi fazaba haibase youthful beauty haibase matam ngahak gi ne ko adum punsi supa le to bana te aduna ngahak fazaramaga matam ma yorkhini ko when we become older haibetare aduna masigi fazaba je mangi ba haibase mahusani aduna outward beauty habase di self life ko tentak pa yamna tenba self life ama le habatu na Alexander Pope na akoida next up ascendancy of lock of hair to heavens to shine like a star in the sky forever reflecting immortality of beauty that is best captured in art and poetry in contrast to evanescence of physical beauty also the man handing is art amasung poetry gi permanent habitat or permanence sorry ko mai magundo aduna henna magun be heli physical beauty de gi on a physical beauty have a city for a few years have a 10 20 years ko amna fazaram bi ai yamna magun chalam bi ai but matomda magi physical beauty gi appeal se handar pa have say mahosa ne somebody who is very beautiful at 20 won't be the same attractive person at let's say 70 ko ona art amasung poetry gi di mut panai de magun handar pa have like art and poetry permanent offers by yourself. For example, artwork hundreds of years ago, magun lay he was to magun lay and on art ka poetry the unico same yam the fazaba poems of Shakespeare ni rambiro or the Tennyson ni rambiro Whitman ni rambako anyone when ni ramba poems in the jiksu magun lay jiksu myam appreciate the way aduna art amasung poetry have a city matam na purakpagi ahongbada moiti effect tawte amasung impact tawte adubu physical beauty habisidi ngahaktan gini ko evanescence hargadi loiba naiba ko habidi for a set period of time habitare ko adu ikena budu in mane man si sei jita ko mari subuda gender disparity in a patriarchal society that shows the male conquest of women. Auna, Baron Naga Belindagi Masando, Nampuda Habitat, Mana Name Matagu, Logo of Year Makakido, symbolic when the Yin Bakanda, the Pagan Bigagi Marata, Matandu the 18th century, and even now, in some cases, I've checked out in Matandu. Kuigi, no Pazina and a value labor, no Pazina and a patriarchal society that they call, no Pazina and importance people. Nupada na strength piba haiba tare ko audacity piba type pa ta du habi ko adu to am kulli heba aduga mga subda wisdom in Clarissa's speech pop speech about fleeting nature of beauty na Clarissa gi speech ay di pop ni bin pop ki speech ka samane ko na fleeting nature of beauty har ga di beauty haiba se matam khara da gi fleeting har ga di boi banai ba hogi ba chat ki ba ya ba ko ta na beauty da koina yamna importance piri ba koina yamna sat kuchu kumen whatever cost da koina am focus story ba paisa ga thada dana matam ga mangan dana koina sida phajana ba na kona rimyam cha sida koigi matam khar leira ga du mangi ga do ba ko even if we want it or not ko adu mangi ga do ba magun namani ko the physical beauty se ko auna na haktang gini koigi beauty se auna madu do koina focus so bum na thokte madu da yamna priority amasung importance bihon thokte na haib to ko ki opinion ko aju important hai masigi je po masamaksu hunchback amadu oibanina on top of that magi height was one of his shortcomings sabatare only 4 feet 6 inches wang maniko Alexander Pope na ba manda maramul dagi ko magi figure of the spine ever get to gibe aduna ma masana ju priority je physical looks ta kai da kya pide ko the my me magun do ina man focus ko aduna it shows Pope's own individual opinions sabatare ne ko du matang da on physical beauty to say so nasiki lecture the theme of the rebel global is a triviality of courtly life ne Belinda's who represents all elite women narcissistic obsession with beauty ne vanishing of her lock of hair pointing to the short shelf life of youthful beauty ne Marie Subda, ascendancy of lock of hair to heavens to shine like a star in the sky forever, reflecting immortality of beauty that is best captured in art and poetry, in contrast to evanescence of physical beauty. Marie Subda, gender disparity in a patriarchal society that shows the male conquest of women, male conquest of women, Nupana, Nupi, and finally, wisdom in Clarissa's speech, Pope's speech about fleeting nature of beauty. Wisdom in Clarissa's speech, Clarissa speech Pope na ibanina ko Clarissa speech haragadi Pope speech harjai ko about fleeting nature of beauty. Fleeting nature of beauty haragadi fazabagi matam khara dangi leram base ko adugi fazabase loibna happening to fleeting nature haragadi hogiba habadu mahusane fazabai ngak fazaramgani aduga fazabagi quality do mangi gani ko adu nirma hanis nothing is right laksi characteristics of a classical epic amo oy haragadi kari kari to the three major ancient epics that are known as the classical epics are Homer's the Iliad and the Odyssey and Virgil's the Aeneid sida akoina ancient epics ahum ko paidagi maming chatpa paidagi minazu celebrated by habitat classical epics kari kari no habu kanda Homer's the Iliad and the Odyssey do later among Virgil the Aeneid habzim. Later in the 17th century we have the classic epic Paradise Lost by John Milton, which incorporates all the essential features of an epic employed by Homer and Virgil. 17th century na John Milton na Paradise Lost Paradise Lost kari incorporate kari hapchalake have kan ko essential features of an epic amagi essential features kari magun cheng do no pot kada no have do do loinamak Homer ga Virgil na irambada modai hapam badu maina John Milton gi Paradise Lost do magun do na hapchale ko every epic has one or two heroes like Achilles and Hector in the Iliad, Odysseus in Odyssey, and Aeneas in the Aeneid. He is an exceptional character, someone larger than life, a skilled warrior, gifted with intelligence, strength, and courage of an extraordinary kind. They are not gods, but gods who come down to earth and live and act like human beings. Epics are not only about men and women, but also about gods and goddesses who intervene in affairs of man. Aduna, epic kudimaki hero ama natraga ani habitai. Adum minimum da ama habitai na ko. Adum yawi. Example win harabada Iliad, Achilles, amasung Hector ko. Achilles na Greek side to fight to bani, Hector na Trojan giri ko. Aduga Odyssey na mo Odysseus haise ko magi maming dolorogan ko magi pita Odyssey haise. Aduga Aeneid Virgil gi Aeneid na Aeneas hariba heroes ni ko yawi ko. Aduga magi magun kari kari sing gadab no haiba kanda exceptional oiba character mo gadab ni ko magun yang chenba haiba tare. Someone larger than life haibadi magi qualities ko larger than life haibadi magi achievements po ero magi talents po ero ko magi strength po ero ko dumya. A skilled warrior ko sa haiba ko pa mo gadab gifted with intelligence haibadi Odysseus ta yawi ko yang na singba yang magun je skilled warrior har kana koi Achilles samsung actor ani mo applicable ore ko. Strength and courage of an extraordinary kind. Sidi loina ma koi heroes ni yawi ko. They are not gods, moi gods nothing, but gods who come down to earth and live and act like human beings. So no, lai dinate, lai gimagun chen pa. Epics are not only about men and women, but also about gods and goddesses who intervene in affairs of man. So the wiki Deus ex machina kai do yaw ko dun na man and women dang inate, or the gods and goddesses na wiki mioi bagi punsigi journey da ko mioi bagi journey of life sa betare ko ishor na ga kut thing chala ka intervene tor pa kutin zelo ko na affairs of man ba kai ko sa to su yaw be epic ki feature ba ne ko na epic ta supernatural element ko gods and goddesses yaw ba ai su mahusa. The classical epic is a narrative of a great historical event. These epics were oral epics sung to a listening audience by a bard. It was later that they were written. The oral epics are also known as the primary epics. When they later got written, they came to be known as the secondary epics or literary epics. Classical epic have a same narrative only. Great historical event the base of ko yamna choba historical event the base of the buni ahan badadi sigi epic singse oral epics or me oral epics ko haibadi bard kumbama haibadi traveling singer ko wari liba Surat kumba kayumada ko like taba kana habu the wari liba dumaina akoigi audience amana tana ba na akoigi mi amana wari liraga akoigi gaita hana diko oral oina lo no epic sing te perform torom bagidi akoigi ko nadi muina itore ko hana oral orambado ko nadi written ori the oral epics are known as the primary epic oral epics sing jina akoigi chinna ngangamba or just akoigi oral dang sinar majina primary epics hai duga itora kanana they came to be known as secondary epics. The plot of the epic involves a journey miyawiko. In the Iliad, it is a journey of the hero Achilles from Greece to Troy and back. In the Odyssey, it is journey of the hero Odysseus from Troy at the end of the Trojan War back to Ithaca in Greece. The intervention of gods during journey and resolution of conflicts with their help will finally show balance between human will and divine will. Thus, the epics are historical events that as they actually happen. Epic amagi plot what the worry the journey am yaw dam the Iliad na kari yawi have kanta Achilles na Greece the gi Troy the laga han gi bagi ko man lan haita lan yawi la the yawi the Iliad the worry ni Odysseus na ekoi gi Odysseus na mana Trojan War fight tor mang matung the ko Troy the gi mana mayum isaka da halat da man thing gi ba challenges have tare magi tare magi journey ko magi adventures me am du matang ni ko the intervention of gods during journey and resolution of conflicts with their help will finally show balance between human will and divine will. Ona sida intervention sure na kut thinjala pa hai batare ko journey the resolution of conflicts ta apne kari ubu no hai kanda balance mu bugam ngani ko human will ga divine will marta balance proper balance no purpose. Thus the epics are historical events as they actually happen. Historical events that the year kani ko one. Next slide of Mexico. The epic story begins in medias res, in the midst of things, which is the practice of beginning an epic by plunging into a crucial situation. One fairy tale once upon a time can hold not important of a crucial situation in the Iliad, within the first few lines, poet narrates ongoing events of Trojan War. Iliad epic first few lines point to Trojan War setting stage for action to unfold between warring Greeks and Trojans. The Iliad ends with triumph of Greeks in Trojan War. The Odyssey does not begin at that point of the culmination of Trojan War, but begins midway through Odysseus' mourning. Iliad ki matunda Odyssey lakpanina laagasu hairagin ko. Animak se media stress da howe in the midst of things have tare ko. Iliad na akhoi Trojan War manungdagi direct howi aduga Odyssey dana. For example, Iliad egg loibaga Trojan War loiraga Odyssey gi wari haugadra ina koina kanbado haudeb ko. Odyssey dana direct Odysseus ki wanderings ko midway the marak dum howe. Duna animak se Iliad su Odyssey su media stress da howa ni mga tanyo. The style of an epic is commensurate or proportionate with theme. If epic deals with exalted themes, style is equally elevated, elegant, and formal. No use of colloquial or everyday language is allowed. Exalted or high level high class elegant oy wahibata sin nabakanda elevated oy amasung formal oy everyday language kumasin nabiyade colloquial language are kumasin pau omno the sin basic habitare no moda sin naba hierarchy adugumba language sin nabiyade elevated oy formal oy amasung yamna elegant oy rule lamale ko Next slide, Lucy. Characteristics of classical epics. Since epics started as moral epics or oral epics, in order to make listener not miss out any word, epics use repetition. Many epithets or descriptive words or phrases are repeated. Oh no, epics singse ahanbada orally written on the later oral format irambana or iramba harige nang thuaga wari on the lirambadina ko tariba misingduna loinamak tahownaba natra loinamak kangongnaba ina wahaise hanjan haibaki chanabi man le ko auna masije yamna common feature amane na haibi ai baduna epic singda repetition yamna kuina ubo phangani so epic singse tahownaba aikoigi tariba singduna gyan tahownaba natraga words kumba kaigumba miss out todunaba ina hanjangangi aduna many epithets or descriptive words or phrases are repeated and hanjangang batabne ko aidi amukta ngangbada tahodragadi aikoina tahawdo mi do amukka khangongnaba natraga tahownaba ina amukka ngangba din osa. All epics begins with an epic invocation to muses to inspire poet to sing song followed by an announcement of theme. Epic kudimak ko akoi classical epic singse kari yauge haba kanda invocation to muses. Muses haragadi poetry gumba kaigumgi like momuniko on the moida blessing ni moidagi horokoda wiki Shakespearean drama the Marlowe drama the yobniko on the muses kumba kaigumba hana blessing ni raga akoina tawdoriba thabak se successful hen bio habigi mo ai betare poet tuna sakadoriba isai boero perform tawdoriba action du boero whatever adu successful hen ba in blessing ni se mase kahetare part amane ko epic poem ki mahusa. Normally, classical epics of Greece were either in 12 books or in multiples of 12. Homer's epics are divided into 24 books. Oh, now, classical epics in Z, like trying to win or multiples of 12, 12, 24, 36, God, the minor lak, habitaret and the essential feature of an epic is the inevitability of exaggeration while presenting hero and his valorous deeds, his physical attributes, and mental traits. Oh, now, face togani natraga kuina thengnagani haba kanda inevitability habadi social thengnagadobse karino exaggeration hyperbole haba tarene ko haragana while presenting hero and his valorous deeds are the hero to takpa kanda even in our Manipuri epic khamba thobi natra khambana khambagi mapa ko something that I remember was written his name kai tariat amutang the fight to be koli kanaga pigi wari do kuina pagi gumba to ko aduna adumaina pigi yamna exaggerated oiba yamna hyperbolic oiba thingnei ko magun sing moina nangthorok ko kotorok pa moi tothorok moi magun ji describe to kanda ko abadi ni ama defeat to kanda wari ni no ko manga defeat to gita haiba ko mi manga defeat to gita ta defeat to kanda ni tara defeat to gita haiba se kuigi magi hero to physical attributes ko hero to mental traits mai magun sing abata ko magi singaga na yam ka hena singba matona maring jen le ga yam na matona maring jen le ba du mo do chal le ko si je kuigi exaggeration ji yam to in ko nge. Supernaturalism, an inherent feature of an epic to create awe and wonder. Supernatural elements include presence of gods, demons, angels, fairies, and use of supernatural forces like natural catastrophe. Aduna supernaturalism haibase yaudaba yadraba macha amani feature amani epic amagi ko awe and wonder have angakpa akiba phawannaba ko adu kari supernatural elements hagana kari no have kanda gods, demons or angels, fairies, and use of supernatural forces like natural catastrophe classical epic amada gods yarakani, demons, angels, fairies loinama yarakani have na example with morality, a key characteristic of an epic, and this lends to didacticism as an essential aspect of an epic. Epics are universal in themes and therefore have an appeal to the entire humanity. Oh no, morality say yamna achowa feature amani epic amagi classical epic amagi aduna morality yaubani nan didacticism jaw didactic oi bahar ga di tak pako teaching haiba tare me onda loksing pangna ba konna gi magun nam chen base didactic oi bako ka na masi quality ma chen gani aspect amo gani ba epic haiba di enjoyment da gina te ba epic se kuina classical epic pa ba kan ko odysseus ki journey ko actually so gi mo gi challenges ko Aeneas ki magi Aeneas taman thing river challenges me am je kuina pa ba kan da ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯗ ꯇꯝꯖꯅꯤꯡꯉꯥꯏ ꯑꯣꯏꯕ ꯃꯒꯨꯟꯁꯤꯡ ꯍꯥꯏꯕ ꯇꯥꯔꯦꯀꯣ ꯁꯨꯃꯥꯏꯅ ꯇꯧꯒꯗꯕꯅꯤ ꯁꯤꯒꯤ ꯃꯣꯔꯦꯜ ꯚꯦꯂ꯭ꯌꯨ ꯆꯦꯟꯒꯗꯧꯕꯅꯤ ꯁꯤꯒꯤ ꯀ꯭ꯋꯥꯂꯤꯇꯤ ꯆꯦꯟꯒꯗꯧꯕꯅꯤ ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯁꯦ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯗ ꯎꯠꯀꯅꯤꯕꯀꯣ ꯑꯗꯨꯒ ꯁꯤꯒꯤ ꯇꯥꯛꯄꯒꯤ ꯀ꯭ꯋꯥꯂꯤꯇꯤ ꯑꯃ ꯌꯥꯎꯒꯅꯤ ꯃꯗꯨ epic simile compare two objects that have nothing in common. Epic similes which employ images from nature are used to give reader a sense of great size. And now epic simile simile hai question na teko object ani which have nothing in common have tare ko kem ta man da ba ni sibu compare toroga anauba magun na chalan bujibo ko epic simile ko classical epics include epic games, a trip to underworld, a vision of future, and an epic catalog of heroes, ships, armor, and armies. Oh no, classical epics kari kari yabu no have kan epic games kuma mi yabu ni underworld da have the land of death ka have da du chapagi journey ki sin nam yabu ni a vision of future si me am je loina compulsory way have na te ko usually include have ko am matam yabu ni already an epic catalog of heroes, ships, armor, and armies. So they are power heroes, already ships, armor, armies me am je loina yabu ni the mock epic mock epic imitating style of heroic poetry in order to satirize unheroic subject. Now mock epic na matok tamgani ko kari matok tamgani have kanda heroic poetry ki matok tamgani aduga kari satirize so no have kanda unheroic subject amajibu karem na ba amajibu karem ka thaina bai mum ira tu ne ko tone employed is mocking or sarcastic use of exalted style and form on the tone do kari tone sin agni the serious tone of the tra have the oi ko kari tone sin agni mocking na traga sarcastic tone di ira kani aduga exalted style and form this is nagani tone budi mocking the sarcastic the epic tradition was honed to a fine art in the late 17th and early 18th century neoclassical period a double-edged satirical weapon the mock epic was sometimes used by the moderns of this period to ridicule contemporary ancients i.e. classicists more often it was used by ancients to point at the unheroic character of the modern age by subjecting thinly disguised contemporary events to a heroic treatment. The outstanding English mock epic is Alexander Pope's brilliant tour de force, The Rev of the Lock, which concerns a society boasts theft of a lock of hair from a society belle. Pope treated the incident as if it were comparable to events that sparked the Trojan War. Pope na masigi events ko mana Trojan War hobagi type ta issue not the sambun na mahai bata ne ko takibadi baron duna Belinda ki masung ka kibado yamna achoba thodu ki type ko yamna important na thodu wi type ta ko na elevated language sinaraga but in a sarcastic manner ko elevated sinaraga koi gi imung ani khana gi mai mam da Trojan War ki type da I bado madune ba koina mocking tone na mu do se ko adu no mock epic ai do na ko although mock epic satirical poem portrayed real characters and events often thinly disguised in contemporary and local settings its literary ancestry might be traced back to classical antiquity. Mock epic satirical poems in kari portrait of no have kind of real characters ko mi asing the base of asing but event talk about events in the base of for example Rev of the Law have say asing mida amasung asing na talk about events in the base of ado base of gazu in contemporary and local settings ko matam dugi oina there is no poem na mai matam the base of ado magi literary ancestry to the classical antiquity the time among the Greek amasung Roman gi matam da oda trace to be magi magun sin to have that aduna events amasung masigi mock heroic epic ta atraga mock epic satirical poem the yori ba mi singse aseng ba mi the base over aseng ba event the base over gazu aduga matam dugi oina Alexander Pope na haraga Alexander Pope ki matam gi Dryden matam gi Swift matam gi ibne ba adubu mogi literary ancestry haga mo literary qualities de kai manage have kanda classical antiquity de iramba Greek amasung Latin epic singer quality money. A close reading of entire poem will show how far Pope has employed epic features from ancient epics in his poem that has a trivial subject as its theme. Akoina munna excuse me. Akoina munna masigi sairengje hobudagi loibu para kandadi akoina kari ubu ngamgani haiba kanda Pope sina epic features se ꯀꯌꯥꯝꯅ ꯅꯠꯇ꯭ꯔꯒ ꯑꯗꯨꯛꯀꯤ ꯃꯇꯤꯛ ꯀꯌꯥꯝ ꯀꯨꯞꯅ ꯃꯇꯧ ꯇꯝꯃꯒ ꯏꯔꯝꯒꯦ ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯗꯣ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯅ ꯎꯕ ꯉꯝꯒꯅꯤꯕꯀꯣ ꯑꯗꯨꯕꯨ ꯃꯥꯅ ꯁꯕꯖꯦꯛ ꯃꯦꯇꯔꯗꯨꯗꯤ ꯌꯥꯝ ꯏꯆꯝ ꯆꯝꯕ ꯁꯕꯖꯦꯛ ꯃꯦꯇꯔ ꯁꯝ ꯀꯛꯈꯤꯕꯒꯤꯀꯣ ꯃꯗꯨꯅ ꯁꯕꯖꯦꯛ ꯃꯦꯇꯔꯗꯤ ꯑꯣꯏꯍꯟꯕ ꯕꯠ ꯀ꯭ꯋꯥꯂꯤꯇꯤꯗꯤ ꯑꯦꯄꯤꯛ ꯄꯣꯝꯒꯤ ꯇꯥꯏꯞꯇ ꯏꯔꯝꯒꯅꯤꯕ ꯃꯥꯅ. The protective armor given by gods and goddesses is another epic device we can see in this poem. The poem has a rich range of literary allusions and an ironic commentary on the contemporary social world with a sense of suppressed energy threatening to break through veneer of civilization. Protective armor given by gods and goddesses is another epic device. Sylph amasung Ariel hoina Belinda dubu protect from Baron. Canto number 3 Lines detail analysis lines 1 and 2 4 describe place where Belinda and ladies have arrived. This is Hampton's Court, a place for social gathering, but reference to folk nymphs is a veiled attack on aristocratic gentlemen of society who gossip about women. Mixing of serious political talk with trivial about women reflects Pope's satirical ingenuity. Hampton Court social gathering yamna serious about wari gumba sagadra yam serious about topic gumba nagadra hairaka yamna basic weba ko haibadi yamna gossipy weba oina ududa koida mong dia malanaga ko yamna important weba maram da wari sara try kalaga yam trivial weba nature wari sara do satirical ingenuity do koida utpa hore. Lines 7 to 8 make explicit reference to Queen Anne, where she sometimes counsel tech and sometimes tea. Once more, an attempt to ridicule monarch and people assemble in court, mixing serious conversation with leisurely activity of taking tea. The parting shot is, at every word, a reputation dies. The ladies and gentlemen disperse to enjoy pleasures of a day at court, gossiping with one another about everything from glory of queen to decor of the court. Oh no. Moyisida court sida aruba wari aruba discussion gumba kai gumba tawgudra khot kadra haraga ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯏꯆꯝ ꯆꯝꯕ ꯌꯥꯝꯅ ꯕꯦꯁꯤꯛ ꯑꯣꯏꯕ ꯌꯥꯝꯅ ꯂꯦꯖꯔꯂꯤ ꯑꯣꯏꯕ ꯅꯦꯆꯔꯗꯀꯣ ꯍꯥꯏꯗꯤ ꯃꯑꯣꯡꯗꯤ ꯌꯥꯝꯅ ꯃꯥꯟꯍꯜꯂꯒ ꯌꯥꯝꯅ ꯁꯤꯔꯤꯌꯁ ꯑꯣꯏꯕ ꯃꯥꯟꯍꯜꯂꯒ ꯌꯥꯝ ꯕꯦꯁꯤꯛ ꯑꯣꯏꯕ ꯋꯥꯔꯤ ꯁꯥꯟꯅꯕꯗꯣ ꯑꯗꯨꯁꯨ ꯀꯔꯦꯝ ꯊꯥꯏꯅꯩꯅꯦꯕ ꯄꯣꯛꯁꯤꯗ. He targets judges who sign death sentences in hurried manner so that they can quickly adjourn for lunch. Opening lines of Canto 3 presents arrogance of British elite who mix levity with serious business and conduct court work with no empathy. Sida mana judge kumaju mana target tawi popna ko aduga opening lines ta British elite singi moina levity haragadi light hearted ko serious business ka light hearted with mix of sunaba aduju popna condemn tawi ko. Belinda sits down to a game of ombre with two gentlemen to decide their doom. The word doom in connection with card game enhances triviality of pastime of modern aristocratic ladies and courtiers. So now ladies ka courtiers na ombre gumba card game gumba sanaraga matam lenba matam manghanba haibsu ay ko. Pope borrows epic characteristic of gods descending to protect protege when he makes a reference to sylphs. Sylphs descend from heavens and perch upon cards. On the sylphs in Jina, epic poems in the gods and goddesses na tharakpa guardians in the epic hero to protect over the mina, sylphs in the laga, Belinda protect over the Lines 46 to 64 are brilliant description of battle of cards paralleling epic battles between humans and gods. Here the sylphs are perched on the cards of Belinda, and because of their support, she wins in early stages. Oh no, Quiggy sylphs in Jina Belinda cards in the tone the layer of command protection. Piraga, Belindana, card gram, ombre, Kahan doing a Battle between Belinda and Baron, described as they play cards to gain advantage over each other. Line 99 affirms Belinda's triumph. Belinda na dikado ko Baron ka Belinda card games na baganda. When Belinda celebrates her success, we hear poets voice that poor mortals cannot foresee their future. Hadi Belinda gi masabaki ubang mo din ko na poor mortals. The rape of her dog by Baron presented in epic terms amounting to loss of honor. magi masam rangi ko theft haragen sida haragen ko baron duna magi masam do ka aga mun ki harage kari mong da present to gaba kan epic terms of present to ko belinda gi owner mangi ko samani si to masam do lakhi do belinda gi owner lakhi ko samani na pom na present to the steam arising out of coffee reminds Baron of plan to steal Belinda's ringlet. May masanduran na ito magi coffee yi magta. Habi coffee taaga at mangan ba na coffee is important ba plot element nam nen lobi ko. The mythological reference to Scylla is when she plucks a single lock of her father, Nisus' hair, to present it to Minos, whom she loved. Disgusted with her lack of filial devotion, she is punished by her father and transformed into a seabird. Baron goes ahead with his premeditated action of cutting Belinda's lock clinical. He gets a pair of scissors from Clarissa, who finds incident trivial and sermonizes about need to focus on leading a life of moral uprightness. So the Sanka Kanda Clarissa Jinamu and they call incidents and trivial or Sanka incidents. And the sermonizes are the mana advice we could have a time. Life say moral uprightness to in a focus to the we outward appearance or physical beauty advice between you. When Baron tries to cut lock, sylphs spread themselves on Belinda's neck. Chief of Sylphs discovered that an earthly lover is lurking in her heart. He abandons Vigil. Pope satirizes ladies and gentlemen belonging to aristocratic class, stating that they do not possess genuine moral chastity. Ariel, who had earlier tempted her with vision of a handsome young man, now feels shocked at her unspoken sexual desires and sighs away from protecting her. Aduna, Pope na hai ko aristocratic class se moje genuine moral chastity possess tawde. Moina pretend to wani ko moral high ground da leiba sabagi wani, but moral chastity di moina possess tawde na wigi Pope higher. Canto 3 ends on this note of triumph of Baron and violation of female chastity. Two major symbols are seen in Canto 3, the log and the card game. The symbols are log and card game. Battle to represent the log na Belinda amasung nupi honor amasung chastity represent. Just as Helen's abduction triggered war between Greeks and Trojans, Belinda's log is cause of gender war between two sexes. So na Helen of Troy, we abduction na Greek Trojan kay marka lan to pui maram oi kibu maina Belinda ki log sina gender war ko nupa nupi marka lan no bi maram oi. Log also symbolizes female chastity and hujikta high record. The rape of the log is made into rape of Belinda's honor and reputation. Log also stands for Belinda's obsessive vanity over her beauty. On the man of log to the yana focus story do Belinda ki obsessive nature habitat ko magi fasaba magi beauty de na focus to represent the. The two ringlets have such an alluring power that Baron wants at least one of them. Women should guard themselves against this reputation to their honor. But what is clear from a reading of the whole poem is that he releases mocking at pretensions of aristocratic society that flaunts high morality, mainly for the female gender. Moral high ground, morality, but priority na physical beauty and also judge condemn. He is skating about ladies who seem to place great emphasis on beauty. Beauty the focus fitting nature, fitting beauty, temporal beauty focus condemn. Game of cards equated with epic battles in Greek classic, the Iliad. The Iliad compared to the contrast between battle of heroes and warriors with card game ombre shows Pope's savage use of mockery at expense of the latter. The contrast is to highlight inane and vacuous pastime of upper class at the court. Pope uses dexterously the rituals associated with the battle once again to show by contrast seriousness of epic narratives and triviality of 18th century narrative. ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ battle duga card game ombre ka compare to ko ombre ka haise yamna matam manghan ba haiba tare inane and vacuous over ko upper class na di yamna value lei kana khanjaba but in reality yamna valueless over matam mang bagi maram ama oi ba card game ju mana pomna battle duga compare to summing up torje ko so khoi ngasi gi lecture ju da ko characteristics of an classical epic ki magun kari kari sing da no have the ping sin nare ko or dagi what is a mock epic have seen a kari no kari kari magun chen da no have the ping sin nare ko detailed analysis of canto 3 and canto 3 ko have the card ki battle amasum baron belinda in some ka ki bagi canto do ping nare how canto 3 incorporates a majority of the epic phases on the epic phases the supernatural elements kari kari yoba gods and goddesses ki deus ex machina yoba ko the epic battle ki magun yaw ba dum yam ko ma canto 3 yaw ko aduga what makes the rap of the log both an epic poem and a satire ana rap of the log say epic poem hain ju hai bi ari kari gino amasung satire ne ju hai bi ari kari gino hab du ni na ko maduni ko sigi lecture ju da pin ne ripsi so theme of rap of the log se kari kari no have a kanta triviality of courtly life ana courtly life ki magun leita ba have tare ko yam like to ko to pa have tare ko yam na value le bi sar ga le am ba belinda's represent Belindana, who represents all elite women, narcissistic obsession with beauty. Narcissistic beauty no maru nen khanjabado adubu judge the weak or condemn the weak Alexander Pope natraga satirize the weak. Vanishing over lock of hair pointing to the short self life of youthful beauty. Youthful beauty obviously only for a short period of time ne habdo we Pope na with the public on the setting. Ascendancy of lock of hair to heavens to shine like a star in the sky forever. Reflecting immortality of beauty that is best captured in art and poetry in contrast to evanescence of physical beauty. Now, physical beauty ki matam khara dangi oiba beauty duga kari compare to have kanta art and poetry ki permanent oiba beauty ka compare to duga art and poetry na and magun leina hai ko man physical beauty dugi. Gender disparity in a patriarchal society that shows the male conquest of women. Now, gender disparity have gender uneasy ki makena ba paga nupi ma pana nupi ji kan kar to no ko na ba adu do yan obvious oina asigi se ju ko kan ko and wisdom in Clarissa's speech abadi Pope's speech about fleeting nature of beauty na fleeting nature har ga di ngahak tang gi win le beauty have sing ngahak tang gi matam kar tang gi win le na madu ki wisdom do their wisdom do ko nge so characteristics of a classical epic ko present na inare asigi lecture ji ta pa aur ga Odyssey Iliad amasung Aeneid magun sing ju ka ni yare odi hero sing magun da ko already classical epic se narrative form gamai oi aduga oral epic orambadagi secondary epic on a written or kanda already classical epic sing ze either of 12 books or multiple of 12 so I am probably the one invocation of the muses minare already supernatural elements yaw ko akuna sinare ko already morality ju aduga didacticism ju achoba factor amani have ju oi sikhang bangame masi map already classical epic na kari kari include to we have a kanda epic games yawi a trip to underworld, a vision of future, and an epic catalog of heroes, ships, armors, and armies. Simi anto ko slide by slide ko one by one and the last some of the boina in this unit we have discussed the following talk. What is a classical epic? Is not clear wina lecture jida. What are the characteristics of the classical epic? The classical epic characteristic have the magun jikari kari yaw to no have to ye mugame. What is a mock epic? How do you distribute a mock epic from a classical epic? Have it uneasy kari the kena gap. Already the analysis of canto 3 of the Rap of the Law and the interweaving of satire into the mock epic poem. Satire is a mock epic poem. Have in detail than so matangi class last lecture unit number 4 we in continuation to the Rap of the Law say in the next lecture we will be wrapping it up. So that is all for today for today's lecture. So I will see you all in the next lecture. Last one, we sum up the number last lecture.